Right. Open up questions for Mayar Wol and Troy Glover.
I know you guys. You guys had a big lead coming into the second half, and then you guys kind of lost that. What was the message when you guys were kind of down in those later minutes, and you guys need to come through to pull out the win?
Well, we know we practice for these positions all the time, and we know who we are. We just had to get back to our defensive principles and rebound, and that's what was really killing us. So we were dialed in and ready to get stops, and that's what got us back into it.
And Troy, you were super successful in the paint today. You had 10 rebounds, 4 blocks. What made today so successful for you?
Just staying attentive during practice, and I know my teammates believe in me. I had a couple rough, 2 minutes in the beginning, giving up an offensive rebound, but my teammates told me, "Come on, just play your game. You know what you're doing," and just stuck with it and played hard.
Mayar, 25 points for you tonight, coming off a 32-point performance last time out. Finishing 5 of 7 on 3-point looks. That's an area that coach has talked about, the team wanting to improve at, especially here at home. For you to have that success from beyond the arc and then ultimately finishing with 25 points, what went into that performance for you out there tonight, and what did you make of the efficiency from the 3-point line?
For me, it's just playing my game, just doing what I'm supposed to. That's my job. Coach knows if I'm open and I see the rim, I'm gonna let it go because that's my job. But that's just my teammates just knowing when to hit me. My teammates trusting in my shot. My teammates want me to shoot the ball. So that's it.
And then spoke a little bit there about the defense to close the game out. Both teams at one point, in the first half, you all shooting over 60%. In the second half, for a large stretch, Eastern Michigan was hovering around that mark. But then around the 3-minute mark, you guys forced a steal, a shot at the buzzer, which essentially led to another score, and then another steal there to go ahead there with 1:21 left. Thoughts on, just being able to lean on your defense in those key moments and erase that deficit there with some really timely defensive stops against a hot shooting team?
Well, we know that we trust in our defense and our defensive principles. Our coaches believe in us. They want us to get stops, and that's really what our identity needs to be, and we want it to be. So when we look at that score, it's just like, okay, we know our offense, we can get whatever we want, but on defense, we have to lock in, get stops, and play as a team and work together.
Trey, talk about what Javante does and what he did at the end. He just kind of lit up and made some things happen at the end with some steals and stuff.
Yeah, that's. Well, I mean, he's leading in steals, and he's a big part of our defense because he's very active and he's very high IQ on the defensive end. So we know that when he gets into that mode, into that defensive mode, he's going to get them stops. And when we need stops, he's going to get them steals, stops. He's always going to have our back on defense.
Was there something that Eastern Michigan did at the start of that second half that kind of had you guys not expecting it for them getting that big of a run, or was it more kind of on your guys' performance, you think, that let them get back into the game?
Definitely our performance. We feel like that shouldn't have happened. We know teams are going to go on runs, but we shouldn't. We were up, I think, 21 points, and we're down 5 at one point. So it's definitely us problem for sure. It was us.
And then coach has talked about how you guys have had those shooting struggles at home. You only took 13 3-point attempts today, which is your lowest number of the season, but you made 9 of them. Do you think there's anything to that of taking less attempts that are more high quality than just higher volume?
I mean, we were just taking good ones. Paint, kick threes are a really high percentage shot, and we have shooters. So.
Any more questions for our players? Great. Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Coach, if you'd like to start with an opening statement, then we can open up for questions.
Yeah, proud of our guys, finishing. I think we gave 1 point in the last 8 possessions to close this thing out. And obviously a wild game of runs back and forth. That's a good team with Eastern. We knew, with the adjustment in their lineup, you always poses some some things that you don't see necessarily on film. They had, some guys really step up, and they're a well-coached team, so they did a heck of a job. But, credit to our guys. We did a good job scoring the basketball today, and we want to get a few more stops to really feel good about it. But Eastern had something to say with that, too, with their shot making today. But we're ultimately happy with the way we closed it out, and any MAC win is a good win.
Questions for Coach Simon?
So I know you guys were up against one of your former players, Braylon Green, today. He scored 22, which was a season high in career for him. What made him difficult to scheme against and defend against? Because he has that a ton of athleticism when he plays.
Yeah, no, and he does. We experienced that, and he was a guy that we know how explosive and athletic he is, and how when he gets to his spots, and he was making shots today. So once to see a few go in, and he's been shooting it well in league. So ever since he's kind of jumped in that lineup, he's had a good opportunity. He's capitalizing on it. So hats up to him. We love BG. He practiced, played hard, played through injuries last year, did a lot of things for us. So, we're always happy to see him have success, albeit, and hope it's not necessarily always against us. So, no, he's put work in.
And then obviously you guys had a very high scoring first half. You guys scored 46 points, and it kind of teetered off halfway through the second half. What did Eastern Michigan do differently that you saw that made them a lot more tougher to play against in that second half?
Yeah, they did some good adjustments with their some of their coverages. They tweaked a couple matchups, and we're making it really hard for Wol to get a catch, who was on fire again, and when taking away a couple things that we were trying to do, and Javonte getting in early foul trouble in that second half when he's off the floor, particularly as we get JT feet back underneath him, that kind of hurts us at that one position. So that little stretch where he was off, we need to be able to keep him on, and so ultimately, their adjustments just kind of made it a little bit different strategy the second half.
Great team win there at the end, but really I think the big story is how much it started in the first half, particularly with Mayar getting 19 of his 25 in that first half. He's been stepping up. Every time you put him in for longer and longer, he seems to step up to the role there. What has he meant over these last few games, in particular today?
Yeah, we kind of moved him around. He's learned some new positions, than what we kind of had. He's become a much better asset on the defensive end and rebounding, and so we kind of moved him into a different role, more of a guard role, and found different ways of getting the ball. And I think he's really thrived on that. He's got such good size as a guard. And with the different lineups that we have, we can get pretty big on that 2 through 5 position, and him and Sam being able to complement each other and both be on the floor at the same time is changed us offensively. So he's a fun tool to get shots. We've got a whole bag of tricks for him, and we'll continue to grow that package of offensive plays for him.
In the second half, Eastern starts to push. You guys need somebody to step up. No surprise, Javonte answers the call there. What did he do in that last bit that really allowed him to take over the game and really impress you in that role?
Yeah, I mean, especially when you start, those gaps get a little bigger when they start, the success of Wol, and it takes kind of one of your better defenders off of Javonte, and then you have to take Wol away, and now those gaps on Wol's side of the floor can become a little bit bigger. Our bigs did a good job screening and getting him some better looks. And Javonte's so crafty that he can score in a phone booth. He just don't need much space. So when it's winning time, we'll always put the ball in his hands, and something good happens.
And no surprise, too, that the entire team stepping up, right? It's something you're going to need going into MAC play, or continuing on in MAC play, going down the stretch here. What does it mean to you to know that when the adversity comes in, even after a big lead, they're not going to get down, they're going to come up, and they're going to fight?
Yeah, and we learned that pretty quick with this group in non-conference. I mean, we've challenged them. I think what do we play, like six or seven top 150, 170 net teams, and so we've had to fight all the way through. So this group is never going to roll over or give up, and we've learned that, and we kind of looked up there and said, hey, all right, guys, it's time to kick this into gear. We're down 4 or 5. It's time to make that run, and it's very business-like. It's not a lot of motion. It's just, this is what we need to do. Let's execute it, and they did a good job.
Troy Glover had his second double-double with you guys, tied his season high in blocks with 4. 5 of his rebounds came on the offensive boards. Looked like he might have gotten banged up there for a second, came back, looked good. Can you just talk about the importance that he has for the team in just being a central figure down there, down low?
Yeah, I mean, he can really, really block shots, and that was something that previously, I think he has more ability in that. Now, as the game's slowing down, he's getting comfortable. He's starting to see his spots, and we like him going after shot blocks, and it changes our defense. And he's such a good perimeter defender for a big. He's a very versatile defensive player. So we're really excited about his trajectory and what that will looks like the rest of league play.
And then you had talked about you guys need to figure out how to shoot at home. You shoot 9 for 13 from deep today. 13 3-point attempts is the lowest you've had all season. Was it a decision to take less and look for better looks, or is that just the way it shook out? Or is that something you guys will continue to look to do going forward?
Yeah, it was very politely requested that we take better threes. And if that means passing on some, he's kind of saw it the first 3-4 possessions where we passed on a lot of open threes, maybe to the detriment of, I was like, man, we maybe passed on 6 or 7 open threes in the first 4 minutes. And then we were, we're a very good late clock team. And the more we move it, and hopefully as we saw the benefits of that ball moving, what that does to defenses, and we'll hopefully stay that way. But, 13's a low number, but shooting almost 70% will win you a lot of games.
Yeah, Coach, I just had one wrap-up question for you. Coming into today, able to pull out the win, snap a 2-game losing streak in conference play, and ultimately pull off a rally here against Eastern Michigan. When you look at that, being able to get back on the right foot in conference play, what that might mean for you and the team today and going forward throughout the rest of the season.
Yeah, I mean, these things always grow confidence. We talked about it in the locker room. No one loves this win. We love the fact that we won, but we didn't love necessarily the parts of it, And so but at the same token, today you win, you get a win, and you get to learn. That beats losing and learning. So, guys, are happy to get a MAC win. These things are dogfights. It's not easy to get one, and when you do get one, and in this nature where we felt really good, didn't like it, and then have to do it in winning time and make clutch plays, it builds confidence. That builds confidence that what we can take forward.
Any more questions for Coach? Great. Thank you, Coach.
All right. Have a fine evening.